name is Freyja Sewell, and I'm a designer who is fascinated in creating for our minds and for our mental spaces. And with that in mind, doesn't matter. I'd like to, totally optional, but I'd like to invite us all to just have a moment. If you feel comfortable, please close your eyes. I'm going to. And we're just going to have a couple of breaths where we focus on the physical sensation of it going in and out of our bodies, just for a couple of breaths now. Thank you. Please open your eyes so you can see me. Hi. Okay. Okay. So this is a design called the Hush Chair, which came out in 2011. And I was originally inspired by creating privacy for our densely populated urban environments. And since its creation, I've become increasingly obsessed, not just with creating privacy, but with creating retreat for moments of solitude, not just from our densely populated, but our increasingly absolutely connected and hectic society. I believe that to really take advantage of all the connections and sharing and streaming that we're doing, we desperately need to provide space for people to actually think about what they're sharing. I spent 2 years living and working in Tokyo as a Daiwa scholar, and I took this as an opportunity to kind of forge a solo path away from my past influences and investigate something which had been of interest to me for a while, which was meditation. And I set myself the really enjoyable experiment of sort of trying as different kinds and as many different types as I could. So I tried Zen, I tried Gongyo, tea ceremony, and then eventually the one that kind of sort of resonated and stuck with me, which was mindfulness meditation. And at the end of those 2 years, the combination of the incredible wealth of research I was reading about the neurological benefits and my own personal experience with the kind of calm and, basically the joy that it was bringing to my life, I decided that I wanted to help other people to make the same journey and to facilitate meditation in their lives. And this was the intention that I took into my master's at the Royal College of Art. Many of us live in a world where we can send and receive information instantaneously. We can travel the globe, we can automate dangerous, boring processes so that we don't have to do them. We can explore far-off galaxies and fantasy worlds, and we can see and talk to our loved ones day or night. However, despite these huge technological advances and countless incremental improvements to make our lives more comfortable and more convenient and more connected, subjective well-being in the West has not significantly increased since the 1950s. I just think this is a really staggering piece of information. We have created a lot of stuff since the 50s at huge cost to our environment and each other, but people aren't feeling any better. But I absolutely believe that they could, and that they should. Depression is set to become the largest global disease burden, ahead of such things as heart disease or diabetes by 2030. And there's increasing evidence, of which many of us are aware, of that not only is this design not making us feel better, it's actually beginning to make us feel worse. High levels of stress and anxiety have been seen in 8 to 18-year-olds who use social media, and high MMI users, that's people who spend more time on their phones and computers, are shown to have reduced gray matter in the anterior cingulate cortex. That's a part of the brain associated with many functions, of course, including decision-making, and also, I think really scarily, if it's allowed to continue, ethics. However, don't panic. I know it can be scary and kind of overwhelming, but this same technology has driven a much deeper understanding of the mechanics of our minds. We now understand much better how the tens of thousands of synaptic connections form a web which is ever-changing and plastic and malleable throughout our lives, depending on what we choose to do with it. Technology is just a tool, and whether it's a sword or a smartphone, I believe that rather than passively allowing it to isolate us in echo chambers or shorten our attention spans, we should be proactively harnessing its power to create kind of the shape of brain that's going to become the shape of future that we want to see. So here's a slide where sometimes in the past I rattle off a whole bunch of statistics about how great meditation is. And there's a lot of them, because it's pretty awesome. But I kind of feel like almost we're getting a bit bored of hearing about it. But interestingly enough, a lot of the issues that are caused by our technology addiction are the ones that are helped with meditation. But yeah, we're kind of sick of hearing about it. We know it's good, but for some reason, we find it hard to really put into our lives in any kind of real way. And there is a very, very complicated, long, boring, extremely secret reason that I'm now going to explain to you. Meditation is a skill. That's it. That's the reveal. A lot of people kind of sit down and think, right, I'm going to meditate. It's going to be super easy. I'm just going to clear my mind, which is, by the way, impossible unless you're a Buddha. And it's really, really hard, and people get frustrated. But the problem is, when you're trying to learn to do something, you kind of need to see what you're trying to do. When you are, for example, learning to do a circuit board, it's really difficult, but you can see what you're aiming for, and that's helpful. But meditation is this ephemeral thing that's happening in your brain or someone else's, and it's difficult. So how can we bring some clarity into the meditation education arena? Fortunately, I was able to work with the perfect guy for this. This is Judson Brewer, author of The Craving Mind, and his amazing team at UMMS. And they have something called a mind mirror, or an EEG mirror. And this is a picture of me wearing a very cool hat on a research trip to Boston last year. Basically, simply put, you wear the thing, it reads what's happening in your mind, doesn't put anything in, it just reads the signals coming out, processes them, and feeds them back to you in a biofeedback. And this is the project. It's a mind mirror, which is a system comprised of two core elements. Firstly, a neural lace. This is 32 sensors that are across the back of the cranium, monitoring activity in the post-cingulate cortex, which is the part of the brain that Judson and his team have found to become very, very quiet during a positive meditative state known as flow state. So you meditate, you wear this. As you move into the meditative state, that's fed back to you using a biofeedback, which is this. This is the visual version. There's also an audio version. And simply put, the larger it becomes, the deeper into flow state you are. I've purposely avoided graphs and numbers. Numbers have been shown to be addictive. And I absolutely did not want to create another addictive piece of technology. So I like to think of this as a soft data feedback that's more like a friendly guide. So this is a design for me, I hope, not too distant future, where this kind of cognitive training has become a ubiquitous part of the mental and indeed physical well-being process. This is one of several projects that I'm working on to facilitate meditation, using a variety of techniques like this kind of biofeedback method or physical objects and products. And I'd just like to finish by saying that I feel really, really lucky, actually, to be working as a designer right now, when there's such powerful new tools are becoming available. And I think if we ethically use things like big data or work with amazing neuroscientists like Judson Brewer, we have a real opportunity to finally create design that makes people feel better every day, and together help sculpt the kind of empathetic, optimistic, non-science fiction future that I know we all want to be a part of. Thank you very much.